Hi there, it's Karen here from Turquoise Treasures. Welcome back to Music Journal Monday. And today we are finally going to sew in those signatures. And I'm going to do them on a hidden spine. So I think I know what I'm doing. But bear with me. I'm not comfortable with this process, so I'm going to have to think as I go along. But I'll probably edit out all the dodgy bits. So I've decided to do it using some Tyvek. And because that's quite nice strong paper, and then I'm going to cover it with some fabric. And I have cut a piece already, as you can see, to the width of my inner spine, so it should just sit nicely in there. I'm wondering if I've cut it a little bit tall, maybe, but I don't want it to be tall, shorter than my signatures, so the signatures will fit. Yeah, they will fit inside, so I might just trim it just a tad, just a little bit, just so it fits nicely inside the book. But I don't want to trim so much that it's shorter than my signatures. Just checking it against the, well, I could do just a little bit more. Okay. Oh. Trimmer overboard. I missed the trolley and it just kept going. Alright, so now we should have that. Yeah, hopefully that will be fine. So let's just check with the signature. Yeah, I just want the signature just to fit inside it a little. So my next task is to choose my fabric to put on here, and it's got to be something that will tone in. And I've got a few options, and I can't quite make my mind up. So we'll have to have a look at them today. So I have considered, sorry, put this pencil away. I've got this piece, of course, that I showed you in my last video, but I'm not sure it's quite right, but I have to give it, so I just turn it around to the end of it. It's quite thin, the material, not that that really matters. I quite like it, but I think I might want to use it perhaps in the journal. It'd be quite nice to make a fabric flip with this, wouldn't it? And to perhaps use it on clusters, snippet roll, whatever. I can think of lots of uses for it, but I don't think this is quite right. Then I've got this piece, which I love, which I used on the front. And that's a possibility. I'm just wondering if it's a little pale and a little busy, because I've got to, when you've got to start putting it with the signatures, I just don't know. It might work actually. The colour picks out this lovely turquoisey colour in there. That is a definite possibility actually. I was thinking before that wouldn't work, but I'm beginning to think it might. So I'm going to put that there as an option. I did wonder about using some more of the velvet, but I think it might be a bit velvet overkill. Of course it will go, because it matches completely. And it's a definite option, but I just think it's a bit too much, in my mind. Then I have this piece that also I picked up at the my craft club, but I think it's too... I've got both of these two pieces, which are lovely, but I think they'll blend in too much. I want a bit of a contrast, so I don't think they're quite right. And the other one, which I thought was a definite possibility, was this piece of William Morris fabric, which I really like. And it's a bit more of a contrast, and it goes quite well with this teal in the background. Let's see how it looks with the signatures. It looks alright. I think I might go back to this one, because I just feel it picks up the colour a bit more closely in the paper. That's quite surprised me because I thought I'd dismissed it before. But I think when I was looking at it yesterday, it was a bit dark in here. It's much brighter today. We've had the most ridiculous weather. We woke up this morning to a blizzard, snow blowing everywhere, you know, and it had obviously settled overnight, so there was snow, you know, on all the pavements and all the treetops and the roofs and everything, all covered in snow. Kids going along to school, huddled in their coats and under umbrellas and hoods and things. And then about an hour, it's coming up for lunchtime. It's all gone, completely gone. The sun came out, it cleared in no time at all, and now it's actually quite pleasant out. It's just bizarre weather. No wonder we talk about the weather so much. I mean, it's just always changing. Always a good conversation starter is our weather. Anyway, so I'm not even wearing a jumper. It's got that warm. Well, I wouldn't say it's warm. It's just not as cold as it has been. Oh, I think that's a temporary thing. I think the cold is coming back. Lots of strings here. Okay, so, oh, here we go. Sun's coming out. Ooh, I might have to pull my blind down if it's going to make all these shadows on my desk. It's a shame, but otherwise it gets a little bit, I don't know. I might just pull it down in a moment. I just want to, well, maybe I'll cut this, maybe I'll glue this to the fabric first and then cut it down. Maybe that makes the most sense. Move this out of the way. Okay, so I'm just going to leave it with just a little bit showing at the top. And I'm going to just tear it across here. Oop. No, actually I'm going to have to tear it before I stick it because it'll be easier to tear without the Tyvek glued to it, won't it? I do like this frayed edge, but I might have to cover it with something in order to stop it getting too frayed. Okay. I don't want it overly wide, I just want it wide enough to show either side. Okay. Oh, right. Okay. Okay, so I did the opposite of what I said I was going to do. I was going to glue it on first, but then I decided to tear it down instead. And I'll do that in a second. I think I need to measure out my my spaces for my holes on here, don't I? Right, so it's ready to go. Now I've got one of those rulers which has got the 0 in the middle so that you can make sure you've got that completely level both ends. So it's got a 0 here and then it goes from 1 up to 15 in both directions. So just going to make sure I've got my, so there's 11. Is that exactly 11 both ways? Yes, actually it is. Well, that's amazing. It exactly goes to 11. So I'm going to mark my middle mark. Oh, it's making it, I don't like that, it's kind of spreading. I'm going to have to use a pencil, I think. Or maybe a bar would be better. Whoops, sorry. It's my big bite falling over. Okay, and I'm just going to do the same so I can draw a line. And the pen doesn't work, of course it doesn't. Okay. Trusty pencil. So I can draw a line going across. Oops. So I've got my middle, and where they intersect will be my middle hole. So I've got to make my hole there, and then I think I'm going to measure out from the middle. This is the way I've seen Rachel do it, and it avoids the need for a template, which I think is a very good idea. So where are we? And I mean, it doesn't really matter if it's centimetres or inches. I tend to use inches most of the time. In fact, I don't really need this one now. I just needed it for my centre. And then I'm just going to measure out my hole from the middle, and then I can do exactly the same on the signatures, even if they're not exactly the same size. As long as I measure out the same distance from the centre on them, they should line up. So I think I'm going to go 3 inches from the centre, and I'm going to have to draw a line again, aren't I, because otherwise and I need to draw a line across. I've got spots to work out where my holes go. Right, I don't want to draw multiple vertical lines as well, so this should do it. And then I'll do the same the other side, 3 inches from the centre, and then again here, so I can draw my line across, and then I can figure out, make sure I get my holes lined up then, can't I? Right, so I've got my 3 spots, I've got the centre, so I'll need 1 signature in the centre. It's 2 inches, so I can go ½ inch each way. ½ inch that way, ½ inch that way. Make it nice and clear that that's where the holes need to go. And that's the middle of that side, and that's the middle of that side. So I'll pull the blind down. I'm getting really weird shadows now. Alright, I hope that's a bit better. And then I'll just do my marks on here as well. Half there, ½ inch there. Right, so now I can glue this onto my fabric and make the holes through both together. Let's just centralise it. Right, so that is the fabric onto the Tyvek. Right, now I've got to make the holes. And for these I'm going to use my Big Bite, just because I think it makes it easier to see them. I'm not going to use it on the signatures. I don't want the holes too big on the signatures, so I use my awl and my book cradle, but for this I will. So, and I'm going to use the smaller hole, the 1/8 of an inch. Right, and I did go through from the other side again with my Big Bite just to try and tidy up, because it came through a little bit raggedy from this side, but I think that's just because the material is very easy to fray. But I think once the signatures are sewn in, I don't think that will be a problem. I just wanted to make sure I could see the holes from this side, because this is the side I'm going to be sewing the signatures from. And I'm going to do them so that they tie under here rather than inside the signatures. I think I'll do it that way. I haven't done that before, but I think that might make it a bit neater. And it'll be all hidden and glued into the spine then. So now I've got to do my holes in my signatures. So first thing I want to do, make sure they're properly lined up. And just give it a little droop, 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 droop. And I think I'll just pull this one up a little bit. I think they're all inside okay. And just use my big paper clips to hold them in place. Hang on, let's just make sure. I shall have to do them one at a time because I've only got 4 of these big paper clips. And the other thing, oh no, I'll do that afterwards. So I've got to just punch my holes. So before I punch them, I need to mark them, don't I? So let's get the ruler out, mark my centre. And might be slightly different to the, it'll be slightly smaller, it is slightly smaller than the spine, so just got to try and get it so that it's as central as I can. So that's 11 there, Move it over a little bit. Um, 11. I'm looking in the right place. Yeah, I think so. That's the first part. Yeah, that's about right, I think. That's about central as it gets. I mean, if it's not exact, it's not going to be a big problem. So I'm just marking my, I don't know if you can see that, you probably can't. I'm just marking my central point. And then I'm going to get my other ruler to do 3 inches each way. I know it's a bit long-winded this way, but this is the way I've chosen to do it, and then I don't have to make a template, which feels like doing the same thing twice to me. And 3 inches from the centre. And then it should, with any luck, line up with the spine. And this time I am going to use my book cradle and my awl because I don't want such big holes. And I keep losing my awl. There it is. Okay, so that's going in there. Give it a good wiggle. And just check they're nice and visible on the other side. I think I might get myself some more of these big paper clips because I don't really want to have to keep taking them off and putting them on again every time if I'm doing more than one signature. But that's what I've got to do because I'd like to keep them together when I'm sewing them in as well. Maybe that's what I should do. Do the whole thing in one go. That's what I'll do. I'll sew them in. No, this is the front one, and I don't want to sew that in first. I think the general consensus is you start at the back, so put that to one side. I'll do my back one and I'll sew it straight in. That's what I think I shall do. And I think these are reasonably lined up. Now I need to bring that up a bit. Okay. Wrong way round. Right, so I'm going to start sewing in now. Alright, the first thing I need to do, of course, is my thread. I'm going to use this brown wax thread, I think, now, this time. So, 1, 2, 3. And as advised by Rachel from Roxy Creations, I'm using a blunt tapestry needle. I think the only issue with these is that they are quite thick, these tapestry needles. But it prevents you from catching your thread, but they're quite difficult to get through the holes. Maybe I think I might just try and make the hole just a little bit bigger. Just because those tapestry needles are quite thick. So you push the awl right through to the thicker part. Hopefully that will make the hole big enough to get my needle through. It's going. Okay. So you do end up with quite a big hole, but it does make it a bit easier to sew. And I'm all about the easy, well, easier. Nothing's ever easy. Even picking up a needle was a bit of a challenge. There we are, but it goes. It's got a lovely big eye as well, so that makes life a lot easier. So, now this is going to be interesting. I'm going to go from the outside in. Hang on, I've got to work out if I'm doing this right. Just a second. Get it to go from here. So I'm going from here, from the middle, no, the back hole in the middle, and in the middle hole here. So it's exactly the same as the normal process, it's just you start from the other side. Instead of starting from the inside, you start from the outside. And then you go through this hole and through this hole. Well, it has made a difference to make that hole bigger. Making it a lot easier process to go through. Can't see there we go. And that hole there. And then, has it pulled tight? Yep, not too bad. And then I'm just going to make sure that this piece is tight, that's it. And then back through the middle. And this is the bit where you're in danger of catching your thread, so hence the blunt needle is supposed to be the way to go. And here we are through. I just have to make sure I'm on the other side as well of the. It's always tricky to get it through the second time. I'm going to just give it a bit of a yank. There we are. And we are through. Let's just check the inside. Yeah, it's nice and taut. And the outside appears to be quite tight as well. So I'll just tie it. Take this off one more time. Okay, well that wasn't too bad. I think I've made my thread too long though. I'm not going to use so much next time, I don't think. I'll cut that down. It doesn't need to be long because it's going to be tucked in. I've got way too much left over. Alright, so now have I done it the right way round? You know me, disaster city with this journal so far. Let's give it a quick flick through, make sure I've got everything the right way up. may have gone through and added a few more bits of stamping and stuff where I didn't before. So just here and there where I thought it needed a little bit more. Okay, so that looks all right. This looks a little tall here, so I might cut that down a bit. But that's okay, I can do that. It's fine at the bottom. Next one. So this is the back signature. Now we've got to make the holes in the middle signature. And I am seriously considering putting the pocket here to cover up this boo-boo instead of, I'm not sure yet. That might be something we'll do in the next one, or even after this one. I'm going to consider the pockets once this is done in. Now what am I doing? Think. Put your clips on first. That's the thing to do first. I need to concentrate and not blab too much. Oh, that's interesting. Of course I was going to do something slightly not quite as it should be. The top of my spiny bit is at the bottom, of course. Don't think it really matters that much because I made them exactly the same both ways, and it seems to be okay. Let's just see how it goes in the cover. I think it should be all right. I can always take it off and do it again, and you'd never know because I wouldn't film it. Right, so if I put that in about there, yeah, I'll just need to trim this off a little bit. That'll be fine. Okay. So hopefully, yeah, it should just go in like that, and that looked quite nice. Okay. Nope, this is one I need to get rid of, not this. Right, so let's just take these clips off, and I can use them for the final signature. feel this is a bit boring in the middle. Actually, maybe, how about turning it that way? Yeah, I think I'm going to do that and turn it around. Don't really like that in the middle. That's better. At least you've got something pretty to look at when you get to the middle. Okay. I think I'm going to need to make these holes a bit bigger. I don't think I did that when I did them the first time. Not sure. Now I've lost one. Right, so I'm ready to sew in this signature. Now I have just made the holes a bit bigger and I've already threaded my needle, so I'm ready to go. On the last signature, it hasn't gone too badly today. Well, I shouldn't say that, should I? I shouldn't say that, not until I'm finished. Right. So there we are, signatures all sewn into my hidden spine. Now I've just got to get that into the book. So bring the cover back in. And see how it fits. Yeah, I'm going to just pop it up a little bit. I think I'm just going to trim this off a little bit at the top. I'm going to have to just cut it across. It'll probably fray again anyway, of its own volition. How's that? And I don't mind it sort of poking out at the bottom a little bit. The frayed edge of the fabric. Quite like that. Okay, so let's do it. Let's get this in. I think I'll have to stand up to make sure it's central to the spine when I put it in. Sure it's fitting in properly. And the other side. We're in, okay. I think I'm going to give it a few minutes to, now I have put this the right way up, haven't I? for a minute. I had a horrible thought that I might have glued it in upside down, but I think I've done that, been there, done that. The upside down thing. I may have got the Tyvek upside down, but I don't think that was a big deal. After the last disaster, I think that was very minor. Right, I think I'm going to leave this here to dry. And see if I can prop it up with something nice and heavy like that. And like that on the other side. I'm just going to leave that now to dry, and then we'll come back and finish. Right, so it's a couple of hours later, and so this should be nice and thoroughly dry now. I'll just take my props away. I'll take this one. So, yeah, nice and strong, almost level at the top. So all I've got to do now is glue down the two sides here. This one's lying beautifully flat. But this one's got a bit crinkly, so I'm just going to glue it all down to make sure it lays nice and flat as well. I shall glue down both sides, and then we've got to decide what we're going to do, whether we're going to add anything else. So I think the glue goes down, and put the glue on the paper rather than on the fabric, and see how it looks. Slight excess of glue on this side, but it should just rub off when it's dry. I just don't want it to stick to the paper when it closes. Right. Okay, so let's have a look. So I'm really pleased how that's turned out. There's a slight gap there where there wasn't any glue, so just see if I can smooth it down a bit. Okay, I think we'll go with that. So really what I need to do now is put my lace down. I don't think I'm going to put a pocket on here. I think this is enough now to decorate it with a bit of lace down this side. I think it's fine. Let's decide what we want to use. Definitely going to go for sticking with the crochet lace for this. I've got a couple of options. Wanted one with a scallopy, with a nice edge, scallopy edge. So I've got this piece. Go there, like that, and then it will just, hopefully just poke out the other side. Like that. Oops, you can't see it. So that would stick out like that, if you could see that. Or I have this one as well, which is also very pretty. I think they're going to be difficult to choose. This is slightly narrower. Yeah, it's definitely narrower. No, I think it's actually a bit too narrow. I'd like it to properly cover this bit here. And it does just, but I don't know if it will show enough. Let's just see. I think we'll just decide which one looks better poking out, shall we? So this was the second one. I'm just going to poke out a little bit, like that. Oops, it's got twisted. I'll just poke out that much, roughly. Or this one, which can poke out, well, neither of them are going to poke out very much. This will just cover more of the inside, I suppose. I like the other one better. I do. So let's just see. I think I just like this scallop. It's a bit prettier to me. So if I were to glue that down there, I think it will poke out just enough. I'm just going to put a bit of glue under this card here. It's not quite stuck down properly. Let's just check it's evenly poking out the other side. Yep, that looks okay. Right. And that's going to go like that. I haven't quite decided what I'm going to do about a closure yet. Clearly going to need one because it's popping up. I imagine the more we use it, the more it'll hold itself, hold its shape. So there's that. Now we're going to look at whether we need a pocket at the back here. I could put this here, which would look really nice actually, because look, actually it's almost crying out to have a piano here, isn't it? Because look, we've got the piano keys on this side, I hadn't even realised that. So I think that would be quite nice there. So I think the first thing I need to do is just do my thumb notch. Sorry about that, it's my phone. Message coming through. We've got the family all coming over this evening for dinner, and then Jenny and Gary and Alyssa are going to stay with us overnight. This is in preparation for us looking after Alyssa in a couple of weekends' time for 2 nights. She's going to be here on her own. So we thought we'd do a trial run with Mummy and Daddy here, because she hasn't stayed here before. So we thought it might be a good idea if they came just one night, just so that she gets used to sleeping in that room and knows that there's somebody in the next door room, because we'll sleep downstairs to be near her when she stays. And Hannah didn't want to be left out, so she and George are coming too. So we're going to have a house full. We haven't done that since Christmas. We haven't had them all over, so it'd be really nice. So we're busy getting the house reasonably tidy. I know it's only the family, but you still want the house to look reasonable, don't you? So, yeah, we're just doing a bit of tidying and things, but I just thought in between, I'm popping up here to do this video, so I've got it in the bank, so to speak, in case I haven't got much time to do it next time. Because I think we're building up to, first of all, she's going to be here for the weekend, and then the weekend after that we're going away, so I'm not sure quite how I'm going to fit in all my videos, because I generally do most of them at the weekend. So I thought I'll get a bit ahead. Okay, so that's the pocket. Let's just check. Yeah, I'm not going to pull it because it's not properly dry yet. Alright, so that's it. That's all I'm going to find time to do today, I think. So I'm quite pleased how that's all turned out. There's loads more to do, obviously, but at least the book is now put together. Signatures are in. I hardly like to say it, but I actually found that quite fun this morning, putting those signatures in, because it worked. It's the first time I've done it without it being a trauma. So I must have learned something after all over the years. Watching those videos of other people doing theirs, I did learn quite a lot. I learned from both Gail and from Rachel as different techniques, and I just did my own version, and it worked for me, so I'm pleased with that. And the idea of using the Big Bite, that came from Pam at the Paper Outpost. So yeah, everybody's helped to teach me a method that works for me. So there we go. Thank you for joining me today, and I'll see you again soon. Bye for now.